Thanks, Coach Alfie, for the introduction. So, by the way, again, I'm really, to be honest, I'm really not an accounting uh, degree. I don't have any accounting degree. I'm actually a licensed teacher, but I was actually into BPO job. So I was actually assigned sa QuickBooks talaga na department, focusing on the payroll side of the business. So I've been there for 7 years. I've been a subject matter expert for 2 years, and then transition to a team lead after 4 years, and then yun, naging expert, kumbaga sa payroll side ng QuickBooks. So, sa previous job kasi namin, it's so happened that we really have a lot of departments. We have a department for QuickBooks Desktop. We also have a department for QuickBooks Online, and then I was actually assigned to the QuickBooks Desktop. I was also trained with a bit of the QuickBooks Online, but I was then transitioned back to really the desktop version of QuickBooks. So yes, a BPO, we have really an account for accounting software like QuickBooks. So mostly our customers really are really not the same with those other accounts at BPO, like some telco accounts. It so happened really that they're really professionals. You're really talking to business owners, bookkeepers, or even an accountant itself. Those are actually the customers that we have on, I mean, in the BPO experience ko. So far, I was also assigned as well sa Office of the President, the department sa BPO, wherein these are actually customers na mahirap na talaga i-manage, in which they are already from a regular agent, and then naghahanap na sila ng supervisor, and then manager ng supervisor na yun, and then up until gusto na nila talagang mausap sa someone from the Office of the President. So I was also assigned that, but purely on the payroll tax talaga, or the payroll side of the business. So, again, good evening, everyone. So, I just want to set everyone's expectation. Today's webinar is actually will focus on um, the payroll tax guide, or payroll taxation in the United States. I know some of you are already an accountant or registered bookkeepers, and also handling a lot of, I mean, U.S. clients. And there are also some that are new to the group, and as well as haven't yet started to handle like U.S. clients. They're only for like Australian accounts, something like that. But anyways, let's go ahead and start. And you can actually take down notes if you want, and then we can have some question and answer right after the discussion. So I will be sharing my screen right now. All right. So again, today's discussion will be on U.S. payroll tax guide, or that will be for focusing on the different payroll tax forms. We also have on how to calculate U.S. Payroll taxes, how to pay them, and how to actually file their forms as well, or to give you a brief of an overview about paying and filing those taxes and tax forms. So we'll go ahead and start. Okay, so basically the first one is, of course, I know some of you, most of you, by the way, already know how to, what is really payroll right now. So it's basically just the total amount of wages that a company pays to its employees. So pretty explainable or self-explanatory naman ang ibig sabihin ng kung ano ang payroll. Basically, this is like your um, employees, when you are actually paying your employees, tapos my gross amount, and then those deductions, and then the take home pay ni employee. So on the payroll side, actually masyadong malawak sa payroll side sa US. Um, we have There are really a lot of like benefit payments for their employees. They have this like workers compensation. They also have this like car allowance, like some French benefit item that ina-apply nila sa paycheck ng isang employee. So next would be why we need to keep really the payroll side of the business. So far, actually, payroll is So it's really part of the business wherein there's you have the expenses that you have for the payroll, as well as the all the liabilities that you have for the payroll as well, to check if how much wages you provided to your employees, if you still need to know your budget or adjust. That's why we really need the payroll, why we keep the payroll in our business. The next thing is basically these are the two reasons why we need to why payroll is very important. So again, as what I mentioned, it keeps track of business financial records and distribution of employees' paychecks. And then the second reason is it affects every aspect of small business, from the morale to the financial stability of the company. So again, if you pull up your profit and loss report, and then you will notice there how much expenses do you have now for payroll. And then if you pull up your liabilities on the balance sheet side, if there are still outstanding liabilities, or are you overpaid with your liabilities. So this is basically like the U.S. payroll cycle. First is, of course, the preparation of the employees' records. Uh, Second is you are now about to process the employee's paycheck, or processing their pay. And then the next cycle after you process the employee's paycheck is you are about now to pay the taxes. And then after paying the taxes, of course, you also have to file the corresponding federal and state tax form. So today's discussion is going to be a bit of what are the U.S. payroll taxes that um, I mean sa US, what ano talaga mga different na payroll taxes, from federal taxes down to state taxes, down to their local taxes. So quite a bit complicated, no, kasi they are governed by the entire United States or federal taxes, and then meron din silang iba't ibang regulations sa different 50 states. And then as well as may ibang states that they have actually local taxes, like let's say sa amin sa California, Joe. Sa California, like they have this training tax, they have this disability tax. So Florida, they have like some unemployment, Florida unemployment. They also have like some income taxes as well. So sa atin if I'm not mistaken, sa Philippines, only have like one federal income tax, or like one withholding, in which, but sa US they have like separate federal income tax. They also have like state income tax as well. But not those income tax really not applicable to some other states. If I'm not mistaken, we have, I think, nine states in the U.S. So it's total of 50 states. Nine states are they don't have like a state income tax. They only have federal income tax, but they don't have state income tax for those nine states. That includes South Dakota, Wyoming, ano pa, Nebraska, those states. So after paying those taxes, you also need to file those forms, federal and state tax forms. So this is going to be the topics that we're going to be discussing moving forward. So let's go ahead and so I wasn't able really to emphasize the preparation. No, so in preparing the payroll, usually this is actually the job of some payroll administrator. These are the jobs of those HR specialists sa hinahandle ng client sa US. Once they have this new hire or bagong employee sa kanang business, they are about to prepare I-9 form. This is somehow like a new hire report na sinasabit nila if they have new employees. And this W-4 form, this is basically the employees' payroll information, employees' personal information, their address, their contacts, their previous employment, that states on the W-4 form. And we have actually state W-4 form, but this actually, so far, I think rare lang ginagamit ang state W form. Most of the states are still following the standard federal W form. So the state W form, if they really have their own way on how they calculate their state income tax, then that's probably they have their own state W form. Other form that they may require if there's a new employee is the direct deposit authorization form. So basically, if you're paying an employee, then it's gonna be most likely they are actually they have different bank accounts, so that's why they have this authorization form for let their employees fill out para malagay doon ang mga account number or anong bank ginagamit nila. And then an agreement that their payroll will go to direct, like it's a direct deposit. All right. So that will be the total payroll cycle. So these are actually the three ways on how U.S. clients process their payroll. So ang una, it's just basically the manual payroll. That's an Excel and then a calculator. But this is really quite a, masyadong malaking process na and then masyadong maraming time ang ginugugol mo talaga from if doing a manual payroll. Of course, you need to do like a manual calculation for the federal income tax or state income tax. And this is rare na talaga ginagamit ito. And then other ways to process payroll as are most of the clients, if I've noticed with the freelancing world, um, mostly ina-outsource nila ay yung mga bookkeeping tasks talaga sa isang business. However, I'm seeing posts or job posts naman for outsourcing their payroll side of the business. Like they're looking for someone who really knows about the U.S. taxation, ano ba mga federal taxes, mga state taxes, but rare masyado. So mostly they're focused on bookkeeping, AR80, something like that. And then this is really now the things that most of the employers are processing their payroll are of course sa paggamit ng payroll software. Um, you know, if you as an employer you need to take much of your time sa manual payroll, something like that. So that's why they are subscribing to so Quickbooks, Gusto, they have zero account, something like that, for processing their payroll as well. So a bit of an idea. That's why we're doing this webinar is to really know behind the scene on how taxes are calculated. Kasi most of the time when processing payroll, they will just enter the number of hours na nag-work sa employees, tapos mga overtime, and some insurances that you want to be deducted from their paycheck. So, but we want to know the rationality behind like why we're getting this kind of taxes, federal taxes, why do you have the state taxes, something like that. So that's why we'll be discussing moving forward. So again, going back on the first cycle, to process paychecks. So in processing paychecks, basically, you have there are two types of employees. I know you're familiar with this. We have those employees that are salary paid, and we have those that are hourly paid employees. So most of the time, based on my experience, the salary paid employees are like they are the owner of the business, mga CEO, and then mostly mga employees talaga are paid on an hourly basis or hourly wages. So next is so this is a sort of an example in QuickBooks Desktop wherein this is when you are processing the employee's paycheck. So on the earnings part, you have the regular pay or the hourly pay, in which $10 is the hourly rate of Elizabeth, and then like 80 hours siya nag-work on a specific pay period. And then meron siyang overtime rate, which is $15 overtime rate, and then like 3 hours ang kanyang overtime rate. So speaking of the overtime rate, the Department of Labor in the United States really, I mean, every state or state agencies, they have different overtime rates. The federal agency actually they have this standard overtime rate, but again, we have states discretion if they gusto nilang like iba ang rate. Like for example, sa ibang state like mas higher ang overtime rate kaysa sa regular rate. Meron din ibang state na they just have or they have like the same rate lang talaga for both regular or hourly wages and then an overtime rate as well. So these are other payroll items na dinagdag sa kanyang paycheck. So basically it's a deduction from the gross amount. So Elizabeth has $800 regular work talaga niya for 80 hours, and then overtime rate for $45, and then a deduction of the gross pay, which is $25. So this is how you process an employee's paycheck. Other software like QuickBooks, we integrate like I know you are familiar with like QuickBooks timesheets, or we have any other application in which they can track how many hours or ilang oras at trabaho yung employees, and then they integrate it with QuickBooks, and then QuickBooks will help. Like all you have to do is to import lang yung mga number of hours, and then it will automatically show in QuickBooks. And then so that's how we process a paycheck. So this is actually the most crucial part na is to pay their taxes. So we're gonna be dealing with this for quite a while right now. I know we're time bounded for discussing this. I'll just give you a brief of some facts about how to pay taxes. What are the taxes? How do you calculate payroll taxes? So basically, so U.S. they have federal taxes. That's basically the entire United States, and then they also have state taxes talaga. Meron silang state taxes for California, so, and then Florida. So, which state do you belong? Do you have also a deduction for state taxes aside sa federal taxes? And then yeah, I've noticed this one video in Facebook. Na he was really excited na to get his take home pay. He just turned like 18 years old sa US, and then he was expecting to have like $285 for the days niya na nagtatrabaho siya. However, he is really unfamiliar about taxes, so that's why he was really disappointed when after checking his take home net amount, it was just around 250 something instead of 285. That's the gross pay. So and then his colleagues sa isang car, sinabihan siya na we have taxes. If you are an employee, you should pay for federal, state taxes. So that's why ito lang natanggap ko na the net amount. So we have this social security taxes, we have Medicare taxes. This social security taxes and Medicare taxes, these are federal taxes. They are not state taxes. We also have federal unemployment and state unemployment. We're going to be discussing that in the next few slides. And then they also have both federal income tax or federal withholding, and then we also have state withholding, and then other some local taxes as well. All right. Next is so here are the federal taxes that we have sa US. Char, parang, I'm saying in the US, but I'm not. These are the federal taxes. So they have federal income taxes. These are the withholding that we have here in the Philippines. We also have FICA taxes, and they also have PUTA taxes. So talking about these federal taxes, so the income taxes, these are actually the federal withholding or the federal income tax. And then the FICA taxes are, as what I mentioned, these are the Social Security and the Medicare taxes. And then these PUTA taxes, these are actually the federal unemployment taxes. So we'll go dig on the different taxes of federal or sa entire United States. So this is actually governed to all states. Dapat if you're an employee, if you're earning, unless you're exempted to pay those taxes, given that like for example, we have like employees who works in some mga church or they are priests. Some of them are really exempted with taxes. All right, so uh, for the first tax that we're going to be dealing with is actually federal taxes. First is the federal income tax. It is withheld from employees' paychecks. Depends on their marital status, the number of withholding allowances that they have or they claim, and then pay frequency and their projected annual income. So how to really calculate the income tax in US is that it varies on four different factors. First is on the marital status, if single filed separately or married, and also we have like head of household, those marital status matters. Again, those information are actually just they're coming from the Form W4 of an employee. Makikita mo dun if single, married, sa employee, if head of household siya, or married but filing separately, something like that. So basically, and also the pay frequency, if like how often do you pay your employees, that's part of the factors para ma-calculate ang isang income tax or federal income tax sa US. So that's the pay frequency. And then their projected annual income. So like same same concept lang din sa atin. Like you have a lot of allowances or marami kang anak, then mas lesser yung tax na madideduct sa iyo sa paycheck. Alright. So that's basically the income tax. So ito ang pinaka mahirap na part if you're doing just a manual payroll, or like you're just doing an Excel, because you really need to have to go to the IRS website. So by the way, if those who are not familiar with the IRS, yan yung parang pang BIR natin. So that's the internal revenue. And then naandun lahat yung mga instructions, how to do income taxes. If you're really doing the manual payroll, then you really need to pull up the publication 15, or the circular E publication 15. And then I'll show you guys how the circular E, or how they will compute their income taxes, the federal income taxes. I prepared. Hold on, let me pull it up. All right. This is actually the, if you're doing the manual payroll, if walang software talaga na tumutulong sa iyo when it comes to calculating the federal income tax, then you really need to print, have a copy of this publication 15. This time tinatawag na siyang circular E publication 15P. I mean publication 15P. Before it was actually called circular E publication 15. I think we have these changes nung nag-start ang pandemic. Because maraming, when you're processing an employee's paycheck, if you notice the news na maraming nagka-COVID, or maraming mga store na nag-close due to the pandemic, that's why they also have like sudden changes as well. They have like change against the federal forms. Before it was really like the standard federal forms, and then when pandemic hit, then the iba talaga ang form. Like before it was just like plain 3 pages, the federal 941, and then when the pandemic hits, they have a new form, and then mas lalong humaba ang pages ng form. So this is actually the website. You can just visit the irs.gov, and then you can go to the publication and forms and type in publication 15 on how to really calculate the federal income tax. So they have this percentage method, and then they also have this wage bracket method. If I were you, if you're doing just really the manual payroll, you don't have like an accounting software na tumutulong sa'yo, I will suggest that you will go with the wage bracket method. Wage bracket method is just simply i-align mo lang kung, and then you need to just get the information if what's the marital status of this employee, how often you are paying this employee somehow. So I'll show you the wage bracket method. Basically, this is the, I don't know if it's clear sa side, sa end, sa inyong end. So here, this is a percentage method. You need to really have a calculation for that if you are following the percentage method. But most of the time, if you're doing manual payroll, you just need this wage bracket method. If you notice here, this is for a weekly payroll period if you're paying this employee every week. Down below, if you're paying the employees on like semi-weekly or bi-weekly, semi-monthly, and so on and so forth. So all you have to do is to know the budget and the income of this employee. You just need to go down here, how much is the income, how much you're paying, and then you have here the status. It's married, filing jointly, head of household, single but employee, something like that. And then these are the tentative withholding amount na kinakalculate niya. If this is the sweldo ng employee, what's the status, and then how often, if bi-weekly ba. You just need to scroll down. If you have semi-monthly employee, then you need to look for like this, semi-monthly payroll period. All right. So going back, so that's how income taxes really are calculated I mean, federal income tax. All right. So, and then let's go to this one here. These FICA taxes are really the most, parang simple lang siya i-calculate the taxes sa US. Again, these are still federal taxes that we are talking about. These are FICA taxes. These are the Social Security tax and the Medicare taxes. So, everyone, the FICA tax rate is 7.65%. So that comprises with 1.45% for the Medicare and 6.2% for Social Security. So that's really by default. So based on, from 7 years, I think hindi talaga to nag-change. 1.45 talaga for Medicare taxes and 6.2% talaga from Social Security taxes coming from the employee's gross income. So let's say if it's $1,000, then your Social Security taxes is you multiply with 6.2%, and your Medicare taxes that will be 1.45%. Okay. So again, for FICA taxes, they are paid by both employers and employees. So they actually share the same portion of FICA taxes. So basically, it's a employee paid, and this FICA tax is also a company paid. So whatever rates that you have on the employee side, employee's paycheck, that is also the rate that your company will pay as well on the company portion or the company side. So again, as an employer, you will hold the employee's part of the taxes and also pay the federally regulated amount for the company portion. So it's gonna be 7.65% sa na mai-deduct sa sweldo ng employee, and then also you as an employer, you also have to pay 7.65% as a company paid taxes. But hindi talaga, of course, it's not the employee who will pay it, but you as well, you will combine those taxes, both employee and then company paid taxes, and then you are the responsible person to pay both of them. So here's a bit of an example. Basically, yeah, for example, say an employee earned $1,120 in gross pay for the latest pay period, and then to calculate the employee's Social Security tax contribution, you just simply multiply 1,120 by 0.062 or 6.2%, and then you will get the 69.44 cents, $69.44. And also, para naman makalculate natin yung Medicare tax na side, again, it's 1.45%. Just multiply the gross amount, 1,120, and then it's by 0.0145 to get $16.24. So in total, yung employees FICA tax contributions, employee lang to na side na tax, they will be taxed with $85.68 for that specific pay period, and which their employer also should match. So if an employee ay may deduction for FICA taxes, which is $85.68, then an employer, then we also have employer paid. Those are the Social Security company side and the Medicare company side. So it's gonna be the same. It's $85.68. So in this case, so the employer will be responsible in paying $171.36 to the Internal Revenue System. Half is a direct expense to the company, and then the other half would be a withholding or a deduction from the employee's paycheck. So again, always remember it's gonna be 1.45% for Medicare, and it's gonna be 6.2% for Social Security. So in total, we have Social Security employee taxes, we have Medicare employee taxes, we also have Social Security company taxes, and we also have Medicare company taxes. All right. So I guess it's pretty simple lang when it comes to FICA taxes. One thing that we need to just really consider is actually every year they have the wage cap. The Social Security has a wage cap. If you are actually earning for 2021, if I'm not mistaken, it's like around $142,000. if that employee already reaches that gross wage or taxable wages, then they are no longer be paying for any social security taxes. Pero usually, bihira lang talaga mangyari to. Pero meron ding mga ibang business talaga na nag-reach talaga nung ganun kalaki na gross income or the taxable wages. So, but like so before when I'm handling this kind of issue for social security taxes, it's like 1 in a million lang talaga na naka-reach ang isang employee. Mostly, I think this is an owner of the business that reaches ganun kalaki. So every year, there's a wage cap or wage limit for social security taxes. But for the Medicare side, it doesn't have any wage cap. All right? Tuloy-tuloy lang siya mag-tax sa 1.45%, but for social security, it will stop for that specific year na wage cap niya. Right? I think I am too fast. So next is this dispute the taxes. So basically, this is just federal unemployment tax act. So how I wish meron tayong taxes na ganito sa Philippines is because this our tax is actually intended for different projects, different yung mga unemployed sa US, they're actually meron sa pondo for unemployment tax talaga. So um, this is our this federal unemployment tax. This is actually not be taken out from the employee's paycheck. It will be taken out it's a company paid tax. This is not an employee paid, but this is a company paid tax. So again, they render this specific tax for those unemployed and for any projects that they have for unemployment. All right. So for 2020 and 2021, for this year, the FUTA tax rate is 6%. Okay? And then this tax applies to the first 7,000 employers paying to each employee as wages during the year. So how do I explain this? So basically, sa FUTA taxes, hindi masyadong malaki ang kinukuha nila sa company side. Again, their employee are not paying this kind of tax. It's like only the company. So if a certain employee already reaches 7,000, let's say in 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 2 months, like na reach na ng employee, or in 3 months na reach na ng employee ang I mean nakapagsweldo na siya ng more than 7,000, then that's the wage cap or wage limit talaga. Meaning it will just be only the $7,000 which is taxable, and then the succeeding or the excess wages, it will no longer be subject to tax. All right, so 7,000, if it says 7,000, so mostly the limit lang talaga ni unemployment na makukuha sa isang employee or may itatax sa isang employee. Pero again, it's a company paid, it's $7,000. So that's basically $42 in an annual limit. So if a certain employee is like meron siyang like a total income or total gross wages in a year for, let's say, lagay natin 15,000. So 7,000 for that will be subject for company paid federal unemployment. The rest will not be subject to any tax or hindi na magbabayad ng employer ng any unemployment tax. So again, this is really a I mean, I can say that the U.S. really implemented this act for unemployed, especially this pandemic. Marami talagang nawala ng trabaho, tapos naglaan talaga ng ang federal government sa US ng pera para for those unemployed. So again, these are federal unemployment, and when going down to the state taxes, meron din ng state unemployment tax. So yun, marami talagang tax na kinukuha sa isang employee or sa isang company paid sa state or sa US. So again, 7,000 will be the wage base for the federal unemployment, and then that's gonna be like just $42 limit na binabayaran ng isang employer. So next is, now we've already discussed all the federal taxes. We'll go ahead and go to the different things. So I will also just you know set everyone's expectations. The state taxes, they really varies from different states. So again, um, I'm really not that pro when it comes to memorizing what are the, the different rules and regulations at the different states. But again, these are actually, I mean, if you have an accounting software like QuickBooks, it would write, malalaman mo talaga kung ano ang mga taxes sa state. Like, let's say, if you're on the process setting up the employee, saan siya nagtatrabaho, or saan siya nakatira, something like that. And then, automatically si QuickBooks, nag-populate ng mga different taxes. And all you have to do is to just click next, and then everything will be set up right away in QuickBooks. So that's really the great advantage if you are using an accounting software. Kasi the moment that you are setting up an employee's payroll information or personal information, then QuickBooks will automatically, okay, this employee's living in New York, and then meron tayong mga like local taxes, and it will automatically pop in QuickBooks para i-set up. So, so same with the income taxes is what I've mentioned. So again, meron both federal and meron ding state income taxes. So these are actually how every state govern on how calculating their state income taxes. So again, normally for this, if a customer is actually calling on, or we have customers that are really, mausisa talaga when it comes to state taxes or state income taxes or federal income taxes. So we always advise them to contact their state agency. Again, hindi ko kabisado lahat ng states na rules and regulation nila, but this is how, in general, how they approach in getting a state income tax or tax as well to ng isang employee sa state. So first is no tax income at all. So I think out of 50 states, we only have nine states that doesn't have state income tax. So other states they have actually the state income tax. Okay, so as far as I still remembered, or nine lang na state ang walang state income tax. The rest are having state income taxes. And then another approach that they have when it comes, or another way to calculate the state income tax, is a flat tax, meaning this is actually just a rate. So hindi na siya nagbe-base so the different factors like if kasal bang employee or single ba si employee, hindi siya base. Meron lang talaga siyang specific flat tax rate na doon magbe-base ang pag-calculate ng income tax. And this number two, I think that would be state of Illinois that are using this kind of how they will calculate an income tax or state income tax using a flat tax rate. Okay, and next is a progressive tax. Oh, so it's like a gradual tax. Same with the federal income taxes. They will based on those factors: marital status, state frequency, how much you are earning. So most of the states are following the federal income tax, or paano sila mag-calculate the federal income tax. Most likely ina-apply din nila yun na process sa different states nila. Again, so walang income tax. We have 9 states. Included there are Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska. Those actually states. Flat tax, as far as I remembered, it's the state of Illinois. They're using a flat tax rate, and we also have progressive tax. So in cases like there was this one time when I have a customer na gusto niya talaga like ito ang amount na makukuha sa different sa income tax ng isang empleyado niya sa state. And then I informed the customer if have you already contacted your state agency, kasi gusto niya flat lang talaga na rate ang magbe-base para ma-deduct ang state income tax. However, I informed them that you need to really contact the state agency. As far as I know, it's only this specific state are following this specific tax rate in calculating the income tax or the state withholding taxes. All right. So yun, after noon, binigyan ko siya ng advice, and then contact the state agency. And then, kasi dyan nagsisimula yung error. In QuickBooks kasi, they can manipulate the taxes. I don't know if those employers are intentionally doing it in manipulating the taxes. They can manipulate, unlike with the QuickBooks Online, it will automatically calculate, and then the QuickBooks Online or Intuit will automatically process your federal taxes. I mean, pay your taxes and then your tax form. But sa desktop talaga, you have the ability to manipulate the taxes if, ewan ko ba kung you're not that, employer as, following really the rules. And then, ina-advise lang namin sa you can consult this with your accountant or you can contact this with your state agency. But this is how we do it, something like that. All right. So next is SUPA, or that's what we call the state unemployment tax. So same with the federal unemployment taxes, the state also is getting this taxes. So may pera talaga ang state when it comes to unemployment. And this one here, if you still remember the federal unemployment tax, they have their wage cap of 7,000. But again, each state, especially state taxes and like this state unemployment, they have different wage cap. uh, let's say, a certain state meron silang wage cap ng 12,500. This state of Oregon, they have like around, I think, state of Oregon, they have like $22,000 as their wage cap before hindi na mag-calculate say state unemployment. Again, it's a company paid. It's a company paid. It's not an employee paid taxes. And then, so what would happen is I'm also quite fun when it comes to the their unemployment. So, for example, if a state already, let's say, specific state are naubos na ang kanilang pera for they don't have any or enough funds to bigyang pera yung mga unemployed sa kanilang state, and then what happened is that um, so remember we have the federal funds, right? The federal unemployment funds. So if ang certain state they no longer have enough funds to cater those monthly, let's say, what do you call that term, yung binibigay sa mga unemployed. And then what will happen is they will parang nagtitake sila ng loan sa federal funds or kumukuha sila ng loan sa federal funds. But so far, as the years goes by, way back around 2007, 2010, like a lot of states are actually parang wala silang pondo, nanghihiram sila ng funds. And then as the years goes by, I think namamanage siya ng different states. So that's why I think 2021, we only have like, I think one or two states na lang ang, nangungutang sa federal unemployment funds para, magpondo sila sa mga empleyado na walang trabaho. This is one of the taxes na notice ko sa US na sobrang helpful talaga when it comes to those that are unemployed, especially this pandemic. There's really enough funds na makukunan nila para ibigay at maglagay ng project, and then to also give like allowances for those unemployed every month. Or I don't think also depend on the states if every month ko sila nagbibigay sa mga unemployed, something like that. So see, if I think if also we have this kind of taxes sa Philippines, then yeah, basically, I think mauubos talaga ang pondo. Given the fact this pandemic, marami ng unemployed, tumataas ang unemployment rate natin. So that's why this specific tax talaga is really helpful sa US. And then this local taxes, again, I emphasize on the last sentence, you need to really contact your state agency for any recommendation. So may ibang state, they don't have local taxes. May ibang state, they have local taxes. Let's say from the state of New York, they have local taxes. Like if you are a New York City resident, then you will be paying for a local taxes. And then so for state of California, we have like they have their training tax. They have some disability insurance para sa mga disabled or for workers' comp insurance, something like that. So we actually advise. So again, if given the fact that you have QuickBooks, it will automatically inform you that okay, this state has local taxes, and then you just need to confirm it from the employer. If are you paying this kind of local taxes? Are you exempted with these taxes? Something like that. All right. So this is really how QuickBooks Desktop, when we preview a certain paycheck, given the $1,180 na gross amount coming from the you know the regular pay, $14.75 hourly rate, and then you enter your 80 hours, and then you will get a taxable or gross income for $1,180, and then my health insurance. So this is what I'm mentioning earlier. So if you notice here, the the employee side, employee summary. So these are the employee paid taxes. The other side is the on the left side is the company paid taxes. So basically, if you these are the one that I mentioned earlier. If you notice, we have Social Security, and if you do the math, 1,180 times. If you don't remember 6.2 for Social Security, that will come up with $73.16. This federal withholding, this is the federal income tax, and this, if you notice down, you also have the California withholding, $17.68, and then federal withholding. These are the one that I mentioned. Some local taxes like disability employee, and this company paid taxes. You also have here the Social Security company, the Medicare company, which is, if you notice, this really matches whatever taxes the employee side. $73.16 a Social Security employee. You go to a Social Security company, it's $73.16. Then Medicare, $17.11. And this will be the take home net amount of an employee here, the $950.05. So in QuickBooks, you have the option to do it like nagamit ka ng direct deposit, like si Intuit talaga or si QuickBooks talaga magpa-process ng sweldo papunta sa bangko ng mga employee. And then you as a customer service sa QuickBooks, ikaw ang tumutulong it. Bakit wala pa tong pera, bakit hindi pa na-deposit sa employee's bank, and then you will check if meron bang mga rejection, like mali ba ang account number na nailagay, something like that. So, and then these other payroll items, there's really a lot when it comes to other payroll items. So we have this health insurance, we have some dental insurance, we also have marami talaga insurance. And then that part sa health insurance, if you set up which is a QuickBooks, you really need to consult the health insurance agency if paano ba to i-compute ang tax. Kasi merong mga insurances like some dental insurance, they just wanted to like pre-tax, some wanted to have post-tax. So that's why we really need, or we surely inform them that they need to really contact their agency or insurance agency and how to set up this. All right. So this is how QuickBooks Desktop really looks like on when you're paying an employee. This is the employee side and the company side taxes. All right. So next we have is to so going back with the paying, before we will go with the last topic, filing the specific tax forms. For paying your taxes in the United States, there will be like a look back period. It's like a year na ina-assess kayo ng internal revenue. It's like how much tax liability you are paying. Let's say if you are paying for $50,000 or less, $50,000 or less federal tax liability on that specific look back period na in-assess kayo, you will be a monthly depositor sa pagpipay ng taxes nyo. And if you are actually paying more than $50,000 federal tax liability, so you will be a semi-weekly depositor. So when I say semi-weekly depositor, mostly sa US, they are paying their employees every after next week or like every bi-weekly period. And then if you have this kind of tax liability on an annually for like more than $50,000, then you will be considered as a semi-weekly depositor. So every after payroll na pinaprocess mo na bi-weekly pay schedule, then that's the time that you also need to pay your taxes. But again, these this really depends. Most of the business really are hindi talaga sila lumalagpas sa $50,000 na federal tax on a year. So that's why they are mostly a monthly depositor. So there was this time when I have a customer and nag-ask siya if ano bang like what depositor ang kanyang business or sila. So I just advised them that you can actually contact the IRS for this because sila ang nag-a-assess ng if you will be a semi-weekly depositor, if you will be a monthly depositor. So when I say monthly depositor, that's basically like um, every month, so let's say for the month of September, you incurred taxes for a total of let's say $500. That's with FICA taxes, some federal income taxes. Then, if you're a monthly depositor, if you're not earning or you're not paying tax liability for more than 50,000, then you will be paying it like there's an extension for 15 days. So if that specific liabilities or taxes is intended for the month of September, you still have 15 days. September, October 15 will be your deadliest deadline to pay your taxes. So I know some of you are familiar with 1040. Like if there are hindi na pay na mga taxes or na file na mga forms on specific period or specific schedule, then IRS will really can meron silang talagang penalty. If I remember with the 1040, it's like $20,000 penalty and then sudden interest of that specific amount. So same goes with so when it comes to your payroll taxes, you also will have a penalty. If in case you're not following the right schedule for you, let's say if you are supposed to be a monthly depositor and then you're paying on a let's say semi-weekly, binabayaran mo yung taxes semi-weekly basis, that's already a red flag. You might receive a notice from the government, a notice from the state that you're not paying on time, you're not filing your tax forms on time. So basically, grabe yung mga penalty and interest. And I have this one customer in tumawag talaga siya dahil there's a notice coming from the federal. Talagang mga business owner, they are really afraid when it comes to mga federal notices na talaga. They will call us right away and then they will blame us if like I thought I have this QuickBooks software and then why is it following the right schedule? Why hindi na pa-process yung tax forms ko on time? Something like that. But a QuickBooks Desktop really is a do-it-yourself. If you are really into, you know, nagbabasa ka ng terms and agreement as an employer sa US, naka-indicate talaga yun na si QuickBooks are not really liable when it comes to this and to that, something like that. So kahit anong push nila na si QuickBooks talaga mambabayad ng mga penalty or mga interest, then hindi talaga. Dahil nasa sa terms and agreement siya that you as an employer should be liable with all the taxes. We here in some of the QuickBooks, we will help you how to set it up, how to process everything, something like that. So those are actually the schedule that you have when you are paying a specific taxes. It's either you will be a semi-weekly depositor or you are actually a monthly depositor of your taxes. All right. So much with the taxes. So of course, after you're paying the taxes, there is really a corresponding tax form. And this tax form, it's like if you're a business owner, somehow it's like the boring part in preparing tax forms, but it's the most essential part talaga in running a business. You don't want to have notice from the federal or the state agencies that you have this specific penalty because you're not filing the tax forms or yeah. An employer really is this is somehow not the reason why they work up every day or they work up every day. Somehow this is really the most boring part in running their business but this is really what I can say the essential part is to really file your tax form as a business employer. So forms must be processed every quarter and every year. So we have tax forms na pinaprocess siya every quarter. We have also federal tax forms na every year siya sinasubmit. And sa state, mostly ibang forms na monthly talaga siya sinasubmit. Meron ding ibang state na they're also following quarterly schedule in filing their federal tax forms. Um, so here are the common tax forms, or this is really the tax forms that most of the business owner are using. Form 941, um, it's a tax form. Dito na yung mga lahat ng mga federal taxes. Let's say um, your federal income tax, your social security employee tax, social security company tax, Medicare employee tax, and Medicare company taxes. So Form 941. And this Form 941, these are actually filed every quarter. It's a quarterly form na dapat sinasubmit ng ating mga business owners, or usually mga accountants talaga nagpa-process ng mga tax forms. They have this tax advisors, they have accountants who will review the different tax forms. But I know, of course, malay natin those that are having U.S clients, and then may mga like a vacancy when it comes to sino magpaprocess ng tax form sa client nyo. Why not you can own the task, and much better maka ma-increase yung hourly rate if you handle already um, the payroll side of the business, the tax forms. So yeah, Form 941 is a federal income tax. This includes your federal income tax, social security, and Medicare taxes sa Form 941. So I'll show you how the Form 941 looks like. I don't know if clear ba siya so far. So I think, yeah. So this is the 941. So as what I've mentioned before, that this is really the new 941 is a brand new form. When I say a brand new form, sobrang daming changes ginawa nila nung nag-start na ang pandemic. So nung wala pang pandemic, how many years, we're just really following the 941 standard form. But when pandemic hits, biglang nabago yung 941 tax forms or tax returns. Before, it only has like line 16 or box 16 sa forms. And then when they have these changes during the pandemic, is umabot na siya talaga papuntang box 28, and meron pang mga ibang parts of form na kabago-bago na talaga. So on a yearly basis, they actually would update the form if there's really need to be need to update. And then same goes with the state. They have like, remember their state unemployment. This year, ito ang rate na pina-follow nila, and then next year ibang rate na naman, something like that. So it will change from time to time. You if you will be a tax specialist or payroll specialist, you should have this website. I have actually a link wherein I have all the list of the states na mapupuntahan ko if in case there are sudden changes when it comes to their state or the taxes. We're all from Alabama down to Idaho, Illinois down to Missouri, Montana to Pennsylvania. I have this kind of report. All you have to do is I click this and I will be routed right away sa website nila. And then I can read those from the website. What are the changes for the form? But usually, if you are from the U.S. And there's a sudden change talaga for that, then you will receive a certain, like, let's say, notice, kung baga na, okay, this will be your new rate. We have this new wage, standard hourly wage for our employees. Like, increase tayo ng $1 this year, something like that. You will receive this notice if you are the payroll admin or the HR of that specific business or client. All right. So going back with the Form 941, okay. So this is how it looks like, the 941 form. Ito siya. Nasa IRS siya na website. So if you have, this one here is basically like, I will not go into each specific boxes because I think it will take much of our time today. So basically, this is just box 1 if how many number of employees you have. Box 2 if what are the total taxable wages for the entire quarter. Again, remember it's a quarterly form. So for the first quarter, let's say January, February, and March, then the deadline for the submission of this tax form will be the next month, April 30th. So the deadline will be after the specific quarter, the next month, and then the last day of the month. That will be the deadline for you to be able to file employer, your tax forms. So if you notice here, lalagay mo dito sa column 1, yung wages or gross wages na taxable para sa Social Security, and then minumultiply siya sa 0.124. This 0.124 is a combined rate na Social Security, 6.2%. So both company and employees, so that's 0.124 or 12.4%. And then the column 2 will indicate this amount here. So in QuickBooks kasi sa desktop, if you're paying the right, if you're error free when it comes to processing your payroll, it will automatically populate all the numbers here. And one good thing in QuickBooks, if there's really an incorrect amount, na nire-read niya or those figures will have a red color if there's really a discrepancy or some anomaly na nangyayari sa forms. And then so going back here, this one here, and then you will notice here what are the total taxes. Pag i-combine na si Social Security and Medicare, ilalagay dito sa box 5E. And then if there's some sick pay, something like that. And then if you notice this as well, the non-refundable portion of employee retention credit, this is really new in the 9 for 1 form. This ERTC is actually a retention credit if for those businesses that have closed during pandemic, and then so what the employee retention credit is, mabibigyan sila if you are a business owner and then you fall on these categories as na-close ang business, ganito lang ang income na merong factors or requirements for you to file a retention credit. So what will happen with the retention credit, a bit of a background, is that binabalik ni federal yung mga na-sweldo mo sa iyong employee. If you were part of the business na nag-close, ganito lang ang income, so the government initiated to return those employee wages. Pero of course may wage cap, hindi naman i-return lahat. So may wage cap din na pina-follow and then you will have this to apply a retention credit as well. So if you notice as well, I know you're for those that are running some balance sheet reports, you have some PPP loan. If you notice nyo yun, the PPP loan is actually during this pandemic as well. There's a CARES Act as well, and then and the PPP loan, nagpapaloan ang government. If actually you pass all those checklists or requirements, and then they also would like to, the government will have to, para may PPP loan forgiveness. Yung PPP loan forgiveness is that even though you take loan from the government and then magpapasa ka lang ng mga different requirements, pwede mo siyang i-forgive. Parang hindi mo na yun babayaran ng loan. I know some of you are, okay, yung nagpa-process ng mga balance sheet, may mga makikita kayong PPP loan, and then sa profit and loss, merong other income if in case na forgive na yung na-loan na that specific amount from the government. And then, so this is actually the form looks like. Dito makikita nyo yung total na binayaran nyo sa QuickBooks. And then dito sa box 14, makikita nyo if meron pa kayong balance taxes na hindi pa nababayaran. And then line 15 is the sort of an overpayment. This other one here these are actually for when we have na those wages, sick wages for those mga employee na nagka-COVID, yung mga employee na hindi nakapasok kasi nagbabantay ng mga anak nila, or yung mga nag-close na mga schools. Ito ang purpose ng mga boxes na ito. Dito, makikita mo. Qualified wages, health plan, those actually fall in the COVID or the CARES Act na implement sa US. Alright, so I think that's a bit of a federal income tax or federal 9 for 1. It includes the income tax, the wages you have for the quarter, how much are the total Social Security, FICA taxes, and then the federal income tax for specific quarter. And next is the federal I have here the actually we're almost done. I'm so sorry. So federal 940. This is the FUTA tax. Again, ito yung unemployment taxes. Pina-file siya every end of the year. This is not a quarterly form but an annual form. So it will be processed on January of next year. And this is how the form looks like as well. Ito, 940. Yung makikita ano yung total payments mo for all of your employees, and then magkano yung excess wages ng 7,000, let's say may excess wages, something like that. And then same goes with balance due and overpayment. It will, and then you have there the breakdown every quarter since this is an annual form. All right. So going back, we still have some few slides here. Actually, we're almost done. And thank you for staying, by the way, for those who uh, are staying still. So we have the form W2 and W3. These are actually an annual forms na pinaprocess ng mga employees at employer by the end of the year. So this is like an employee's wages for the entire year. Like magkano ang total na social security na binayaran ni employee for the entire year, magkano yung Medicare wages na na-contribute ni employee sa Medicare tax na contribute ni employee sa by the end of the year. And the W3 is like the summary lang siya ng lahat ng W2 ng mga employees. So if you're an employee sa US and you are really intended to this is the W2, how it looks like. Pretty simple lang talaga yung W2. This is the annual form na pina-process nila. So we have different copies sa W2. I think there are 4 copies. We have copy A, copy 1, copy B, copy C. Pina-process siya sa different, you will have a copy for the Social Security Administration. This is the agency we're in. Sila ang nag-accept ng mga, or sa FICA Taxes Agency, sila nag-accept ng mga forms, is the Social Security Administration. So if you notice a W2, by the end of the year, dito yung total wages nila, then ito yung magkano yung federal income tax withheld, na withheld. And then you also have here how much is the total Social Security wages or total na taxable gross income, and then magkano yung Social Security na bayaran niya for the entire years, and so on and so forth. Same with Medicare, and then you will indicate here as well the state wages, magkano yung state income tax, magkano yung local taxes. So that's pretty it. That's how the W2. Again, an employee or an employer should have a copy to the Social Security Administration, that's the government agency. They also need to provide a copy para sa kanilang state. They also will keep a copy for them para sa kanila. And then they also need to, an employee will file a W2 sa employee's federal tax return. All right. And then next few slides are just state forms. So same with state forms. Again, the state is really much complicated. You really need to know what are the rules and regulation. Again, sinasabi ko merong state forms, so monthly sila nagsasubmit, meron ding quarterly, meron yung iba, sinasubmit pa nila yung mga, merong yung like new hire report, meron silang state tax forms na ganun, meron silang state unemployment forms, and yeah, it really depends on the state if what are their rules when it comes to the taxes. And then, all right, this is before I'll end the session. These are the common. Hope I was able to really share some payroll facts about payroll taxation in the U.S. So in 2017, the IRS collected $2. Sorry, $2.39 trillion in payroll taxes alone, representing 70% of all federal revenue. So I think the taxes are really siya nag-run ng economy ng business sa US. 70% that was actually the federal revenue, federal portion lang yan, hindi pa kasali yung sa state. So nearly 1 out of every 3 business owners are penalized for payroll errors. This comes with hindi nagbabayad ng tax, hindi alam yung taxation, bakit ang iba hindi nagbabayad ng Social Security, iba hindi nagbabayad ng Medicare. So that's part of the errors that they are doing. And then 1 out of every 3 business talaga nagkakamali in that one. Another some payroll fact is small businesses are the largest segment of a non-compliant taxpayer. So um, really for small business are actually marami sa US, and then they are really part of the largest segment na hindi compliant when it comes to being a taxpayer, hindi nagbabayad ng buwis, hindi nagpa-file ng mga tax forms. So that's why, yeah, they receive notices, they receive interest, and then that come when paano na ito gagawin, ano ito yung mga penalty and mga interest na binabayaran nila that would render the success of the business. All right. Hope I was able to share, and I'm really sorry for taking much of your time today. I hope everyone was able to take down notes of some other important facts, and hopefully, no, marami makaland tayo ng job when it comes to processing payroll. It's gonna be a great avenue for us to increase our rate, and of course, for those that are still searching for clients, if there's a payroll post, hope this webinar actually helps. Thank you. Hi, Coach.
Ayun. Yun. Sobrang dami. Okay, very informative.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Andy. Okay. Actually, ano na lampas na tayo sa time, no? But, ang importante dito is, ano nangyari sa webcam ko? Okay. Nawala. Well, anyway, sino yung I mean, meron ba tayong dito? Katanungan? Minom ka ba ng tubig, Andy? Parang hindi kita nakita minom ng tubig.
Actually, this is my first time,
very informative yung shinare mo sa amin kasi napaka-detailed. So, I think we have a question here. Ayan, okay. So, si Miss Johan na yung Ayan, so, meron tayong question dito. So, how to apply po for Main Street hiring credit in CAs that California? Tama ba? Where should I read to understand this better?
For state of California, as far as I've remembered, they only have like employee training tax. They have California withholding tax, and then yeah, most likely, I haven't heard for the street hiring credit na ina-apply talaga to sa payroll or sa employee's paycheck. But I can give you, I don't know where to send the link for those, meron yung, I have actually a link in where you have all the state rules and regulation when it comes to having, if there's really a local tax. But to be honest, this is really my first time hearing this Main Street hiring credit. But if this is a new update for the state of California, then usually these are actually local taxes. Because the main state taxes that they have are the California withholding, they have California unemployment, California disability insurance. They also have California employee training tax. Haven't heard for the hiring credit in California, to be honest. But I can send you the link here sa lahat ng state na pwede nilang i-visit para makapag-review sila if where to really post or have that Main Street hiring credit. I don't know, Coach, if saan ako makapost ng link.
Sa dito sa, try natin sa pwede ba siyang ma-post sa private chat? Wait. Meron ka bang available na link ngayon or siguro later na lang siguro?
Yeah, sure. Later I'll send it.
Later
Hope I was able to answer that question.
Okay. So, ayun, meron na pala. Okay, I think, eto ba yung link? Tama ba? Ayan?
Yes.
Okay, ayan.
But mas maganda yung link na parang lahat na ng state. Let me get that.
Makikita.
Actually, nasa QuickBooks lang lahat yung mga
Ayun, nasa
Bisaya na
QuickBooks.
ako. I'll post it here.
Mhm. Sige. So, pwede dito sa thread natin, dito sa
Mm.
live natin. Okay, later, kung gustong ah, makita yung sinasabi ni Andy, okay? Yung, andun na yung mga states natin. Okay. Ayun. So, thank you for doing this webinar, sir. Ayun. Oo nga eh. Madami. As in, madami. Okay. Okay. So, ito. So, I'll try to, tingnan ko ha. Try ko i-post. Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, and sa link na yan,
Ayan.
nandun ang lahat ng state, tapos nandun ang lahat ng
Mhm.
payroll compliance niya, or payroll
Ayan.
tax.
Okay. So, na-post na siya. Ayan. From the TBSA. Yan. Para meron pa tayong additional na reference. Okay. So, yan. So, we have Ana Rica. Ayan. Si Ana Rica. Okay, for Ana Rica, thank you, Sir Andy Bon. Very informative and timely and currently helping my client in ERC. Okay. Actually, sobrang-sobra na yung
Oo nga.
shinare mo. So, makikita natin na alam na alam mo itong payroll tax. Okay? So, kahit na ako, nag-nosebleed na ako. Kasi meron kasi mga federal at the same time merong state tax. So, syempre, per state, may kanya-kanyang din, tax laws, rules, no? Na ah, susundin. Okay? So, this is very detailed actually. So, more of this information, itong payroll tax natin sa US, isi-share din ni Andy sa incoming na specialized online course, no? Which will open on October. Okay? So, abangan nyo lang din to guys. Okay? So, do you have any question pa? Okay, may pahabol pa ba? Okay, so we have Lady Lou. Thank you po, Sir Andy. Ayan. Okay. So, dapat malaki yung malaki yung sisingilin yung charge. Okay? Yung pricing nyo from the client. No?
True.
May client ka ba ngayon, Andy?
Yes, meron akong, it's an accounting firm, tapos ako nagpa-process ng mga tax forms nila for payroll, at minsan
Yun.
mga payroll tax din.
Yan, great. Okay. Okay, we
Yeah, I think for
have,
the next session, if in case it's coming October, we will really go into navigation talaga sa QuickBooks, and then how to really have these wages, and kinukuha tong wages sa form, something like that. It's simulation.
yes, it's great. Okay, so additional knowledge din, no? Kasi pag ma-master nyo itong payroll US tax, so pwede na kayong pwede nyo na itong i-offer as additional package sa kanilang mga US prospects, no? Okay?
Yes. Especially if you will start learning QuickBooks Desktop talaga na payroll, mas easy na ang QuickBooks Online. Mostly, clients natin are QuickBooks Online, but if you are really
Yes.
familiar with the QuickBooks Desktop, parang easy lang i-navigate sa QuickBooks Online.
Okay. Okay po, thank you. I think wala nang question.
I
Okay,
think wala.
busog na sila. Okay? So,
Over.
okay. So, yan, si Miss Elma. Thank you po, Sir Andy. So, halos yung nakikita ko, thank you, thank you. Okay. So, I think busog na sila.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Andy, for sharing your
Yung,
content no regarding sa US payroll tax. So madami kami natutunan regarding yung difference ng federal tax, state tax, okay? Mga FICA, okay? So, yes, we have Micah. Ayan, so thanks po. So, huwag na natin patanggalin kasi overtime na tayo. Wala na tayo kay Andy. Okay, kay
okay,
GJ. Okay, GJ, thank you, Sir Andy, for the additional learnings. Ayan.
you're welcome.
Okay, so abangan nyo na lang yung ano, yung tawag nito, yung content ng course ni Andy this coming October para siguro pwede din i-add ni Andy later yung meron tayong mga case study. Let's say, ganito yung status ni employee, ganyan, okay? Ano yung mga pwedeng net pay niya, pag ganito yung earnings niya, okay? So, ipapakita at i-share yan ni, ano, ni Andy sa course natin ngayong October. Okay? So, ayan. So, we have here solid sa learning. Ayan. Okay. So, thank you, Andy. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for sharing this worthwhile content on Payroll U.S Tax. So, abangan na lang natin, guys, ngayong October. And Friday, Saturday, this coming Saturday, we have real estate bookkeeping naman. Okay? So, abangan din ninyo, guys. Okay? So, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks everyone. Keep
Okay.
safe.
Yes. See you.